obviously, we can still participating in the show with some great audio each and every week. We talk about fans in the stands. Maybe they all need to sit back and just take it all in. Like being a passenger on an airplane, be calm. Just follow it and watch and enjoy it and take it all in, because you know what? A year ago, we didn't have this opportunity, did we?
Yeah, and you're absolutely right. We've got things back. If you're double vaxxed, if you have to get a test, get a test. Good to see you. Nice to see your face.
Yeah, there you go.
If you do all the things you're supposed to do, you can have complete and total freedom. Isn't that what everybody says? Freedom. Well, you got it. Get double vaxxed, get your tickets, do what you're supposed to do. Listen to security when you go to the rink or the ballpark or the football stadium. Just do what you need to do, and you can go in the stands and yell at your favorite player all you like when he doesn't play as well as you think he should.
Well, there's been a lot of yelling in a lot of rinks, and that's a lot of very happy people. Let's talk about that. Well, we do have a guest list coming up. We do have. Well, we're kind of just waiting for a few people, and a late cancellation. John Marks, unfortunately, cannot join us in the last segment. He has to pick up someone at the Tampa airport, and he will not get back in time to jump on Zoom. So that's not going to work out, but that's okay. Scott and I always have great things to talk about. We're waiting for Nick Jones, a former UND hockey player, 2 years now. He's been playing professional hockey for 4, and he's a member of the Manitoba Moose. He should be joining us here shortly. And Kyle Nixon, the U15, our sponsor segment with the Pilot Mount Hockey Academy, he'll be joining us in just a little bit to talk about the trip to Calgary and his team. Talk about a great opportunity for young men and women to play in an environment like traveling across Canada to play in some top-notch tournaments against some top-notch opponents. We'll talk about that as well. So all sorts of good things going on. But let's talk about this. Minnesota Wild. They are really, really on a roll, and there's still some talk of maybe Greenway being moved, but this team looks like it's built for the long haul.
Yeah, I think so, and we've talked about this. They needed to get younger, and they got younger, and nobody, as much as we all like Bruce Boudreau, I've always liked Bruce Boudreau a lot, and as much as we liked Bruce, he had come to the end of his time as coaches do, and what Dean Evason has put together in Minnesota, one of the great coaches in the NHL. I'm really proud of the fact that maybe 2 of the best coaches in the National Hockey League are Manitobans. Dean Evason from Portage La Prairie, Flin Flon originally, and Barry Trotz from Dauphin through Winnipeg with the New York Islanders. And they've both put together outstanding hockey teams. The Islanders have had a little trouble because they've had some injuries that really hurt them. But that's still a good hockey team that's going to be successful by the end of the year. And meanwhile, the Wild are there, and that's a shockingly good team. They have the scoring that they need. Their top 6 is as good a top 6 as in the NHL. Their bottom 6 are not. Their bottom 3 is not a fourth line that just tries to play for 8 minutes a night and not get scored on. Their fourth line has the ability to put the puck in the net, and that really makes a difference for any hockey team in the NHL if your fourth line can score. And defensively, they've become a much better team. And as we had Kevin Gorgon earlier in the year, we talked about Matt Dumba. Mm-hmm. We were waiting for Matt Dumba. The Wild have been waiting for Matt Dumba. They protected him when the Las Vegas Golden Knights wanted to select him in the draft. They made sure that he didn't go. They protected him against Seattle. They protected him throughout his career because they knew he had the talent to be a top-notch defenseman in the National Hockey League. And boy, when he plays, he is as good a player as there is defensively in the NHL.
When you talk about that very issue, Dumba now, flourishing in the environment that he's playing in, is it a lot to do with the fact that Suter's no longer in that dressing room? Though obviously we heard stories of maybe some internal issues within the dressing room, but now he's been kind of freed up. Would that be the right term to use?
Well, I think the big reason is that Suter's not there playing 31 minutes a night.
Yeah, that helps. Yeah.
That's the difference. You've got 6 defensemen who play, between 14 and 22 minutes?
Yep.
The way any other team in the National Hockey League runs it, their bottom 2 play 12, 13, 14 minutes. Their next group plays 18, 19, and their big group plays 21, 22. I think that the fact that Dumba now gets ice time regularly and generally in a good matchup, I think he's flourished because he's getting the chance to play more.
Yeah, and then you go north of the border, obviously where you came from yesterday, the Winnipeg Jets struggling to score goals, but you look at the strength of this team, I think they're going to be okay. Obviously, Hellebuck, his goals against average in the last 10 games has been 2 or less, and they'd lost most of those games, so it shows obviously that scoring has been the major issue, but defensively they're not doing that bad. They limited Arizona to 13 shots on net for the entire game, lost 1-0. Scoring is the issue, but I think at some point they're going to turn it around.
They outshot Arizona 46-15 and lost 1-0.
Yeah.
Some people complained that the 46 shots looked like 15. I don't agree with them. I thought they had a number of great scoring opportunities, especially Pierre-Luc Dubois, who's had piles of good scoring opportunities, and scored 11 goals. That's much better than last year. It's really hard to criticize Dubois, who has more goals already than he had last year.
Right.
But probably could have 5 or 6 more over the last week for the opportunities that he's had in front. They've just somehow, for some reason, a team full of goal scorers has developed stone hands, and I don't get it. I think what they need to do for Paul Maurice to save his job, bring in the shooter tutor. Remember the shooter tutor?
Yeah, I do.
Wayne Gretzky, get themselves the real shooter tutor and put it there at practice and find the corners instead of shooting it at the goalie or over the net.
I've heard that works really well.
There's no team in the NHL that shoots the puck over the net more than the Winnipeg Jets do.
Everybody wants to hit the top corner. Got to keep it on the ice so they can deflect it. That's what I was taught by Rick Wilson, shoot the puck on the ice. Well, we'll tell you what, we're going to take a break. When we come back, the well-traveled Kyle Nixon, Calgary, back to Pilot Mound. We're going to talk about Pilot Mound's trip out to Calgary and the Pilot Mound Hockey Academy. We're going to take a break. You're listening to Game on Hockey with Scott Taylor and Travis Dunn.
Hi, Kyle.
Hey guys.
How are you? Good trip?
Yeah, we've been busy the last little while. It's been Calgary, Medicine Hat, and even before that we were out in Cairnport, so we put some miles on the bus.
Isn't it fun?
Yeah, it's been a good learning experience. It's been lots of fun.
Good for the kids too.
Yeah, they're just like seeing some different cities, and we went to a Hitman game when we were in Calgary. So yeah, it was kind of neat. Just they were excited even just to see the Saddle Bowl and the NHL Arena. A lot of kids had needs and that, so it was good.
You have a kid from Taiwan?
Yeah, we have a kid from Taiwan. Here.
Yeah, I think that's really interesting.
Yeah, it's.
How'd you get it?
Pardon me?
Well, talk. I think that's really interesting.
Hey there. I guess we weren't really sure if that was your phone or not. That's why we didn't pick up right away.
Oh, sorry.
No, that's okay.
Yeah,
because I've heard about it's like spammers calling in and grabbing a bunch of language. Can we bring you in at about 6:40 our time? So in about 20 minutes. Oh, actually, hang on one second. Okay, if you want to just hang out then, we're going to talk to Kyle first, take a break, and then come back. Is that cool?
sounds good, yeah.
Okay, sounds good.
From the Nillis Law Studio, this is indeed Game On Hockey. We appreciate you joining us each and every Thursday evening. My friend Scott Taylor and myself, Scott from Studio South, Orlando, Florida. A little warmer than here, but hey, it's been awesome. Been a great fall to this point. Had a lot of friends out doing a lot of hunting, and they're actually looking forward to snow. And snow does mean hockey season for us northern folk. So again, Travis Dunn, Scott Taylor. To follow us on Twitter, we do let you know who's going to be on the show on a weekly basis. Unfortunately, John Marks will not be joining us, but hey, we'll have him next week. At Travis G Dunn1 is my Twitter. And S. Taylor Sports, at S. Taylor Sports, for updates on who we're going to have on each and every week. The text club number here is 35270. Should you have any questions. Also, guests last week, hey, Keith Gabe, the Russian Five, David Christian, Jackson Keene joined us. So if you want to watch that, you can go to YouTube Live, to YouTube, search Game On, Travis Dunn and Scott Taylor, and you can listen to those and watch those interviews. Keith Gabe was golden last week, and maybe we'll discuss that in lieu of John Marks's empty segment near the end of the show. But with that, we open the gate and we let the head coach of the U15 Pilot Mound hockey team, men's hockey team, on, and that's Kyle. Welcome back to the show.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Busy week last week. Off to Calgary for a tournament. Tell us about that experience, and tell us about the competition within that, and also tell us one thing. The young men that are playing hockey for you are looking to go on to play college hockey, probably somewhere down the line or to the next level. How many scouts are in the stands watching that U15 hockey tournament?
Yeah, the whole experience, there's a lot going on when we go to a showcase from our league. I think this is the one showcase for the BC teams, and all the teams from the eastern part of our league are all there. So there are 17 U15 teams there playing at the Edge Hockey Academy, and lots of bodies moving around, lots of scouts in the stands pretty consistently. So it was a good experience for our guys.
It was a trip. Like you guys, you used to go to Calgary. You played a few places.
Yeah, we've been on the road quite a bit in November. Going 3 weeks back, we were in Cairnport for a couple of games, and then we came home. We went to Medicine Hat, for a AAA tournament, played some Alberta and Saskatchewan AAA teams. That was 5 games in 4 days. Came home, a couple quick days of school, and then back on the road to Calgary. So we've been busy, and our guys have responded pretty well. All that's a new experience for them too. So you combine traveling, being on a bus, being in a hotel with the actual hockey side of it. And I think guys learned a lot on and off the ice.
I was taking a look at your roster, and you look at down the list. You have a young man from New Taipei City, Taiwan. Mm-hmm. How does that person or his family find out about your academy and then trust you guys to raise that young man right?
Yeah, that's a pretty good question. And I don't know if I have all the answers to it, but the world's pretty small now with social media and the ability to just find different avenues for hockey. So I think his family found out about the Pilot Mound Hockey Academy through the internet, and they went through the process of sending some video and doing some Zoom meetings and things like that. So he was signed and a part of the academy before I actually came on. So I think a lot of the board members and executive were involved in that. And yeah, it's been a learning experience for him. I think just being at school is something that like every day he's learning something, whether it's hockey related or not. So it's been good for the academy. And I think his experience has been positive too.
How do you like the bus? He doesn't have to take a bus that long in Taiwan ever. But the bus 2 weeks in a row to Calgary and Medicine Hat is quite an experience.
Yeah, he's got his face out the window quite a bit, just looking at the different places that we're traveling through. And I think when we get on the bus, the idea of traveling for 12 hours is something that was a new concept for him for sure. So yeah, he got familiar with the bus just like everybody else.
And at 5 feet tall, I'm 6'4". I did not fit on buses very well. 5 feet, 100 pounds. I don't think he takes up much more than half a seat anyway, does he?
No, he can pretty much make himself comfortable in there, more so than some of the other guys that have started to grow a little bit already.
What kind of a player is he?
He's a forward. He's got some skill. I think the biggest adjustment for him has just been the pace of play and understanding the team concept of hockey. He can skate and handle the puck fairly well, but once you start to play games, it's been a big adjustment for him. So from the start of the year to where he's at now, he's definitely improved.
What have you done with him to make him a better player?
I think the communication side of things, it's big with all of our guys, but especially with him. He's pretty fluent in English and understands most of the things that we're talking about. But using the board makes a huge difference. We're just doing drills and things like that at practice, and then in games, having one-on-one conversations is helpful because sometimes we talk to the whole group, maybe it gets a little bit fast for him or a little bit goes over his head. But if we can break it down in one-on-one conversations, use the board, show a little bit of video and things like that, I think it's helpful.
Number of the graduates of the Pilot Mountain program, 5, I believe now, are playing it with the OCN Blizzard in the Manitoba Junior Hockey League. Are your players aware of where they could go from your program? Because these kids, Billy Keene speaks very, very highly of all of them. So obviously you're turning out great hockey players.
Yeah, I think so. The kids that I coach seem to have a pretty good idea of what the next steps are. And I think the way that our academy runs with being on the ice every day, having these bus trips and being able to go on the road mimics a junior hockey or a college type atmosphere. So I think for them, they're learning a lot. And then if they do wherever they end up or move on to, there'll be some familiarity with the type of schedule that they're getting themselves into.
And of course, the competition they're playing, everyone who wants you're looking at an academy, obviously looking at Pilot Mound, which we have on each and every week, talking about the benefits of this and the competition within it. The competition you're playing is top-notch competition every week. And as you said, potentially scouts sitting in the stands watching, which is very important as well, should they want to take the next step to the Manitoba Junior, the Alberta Junior, as Nick Jones will talk about here in a few minutes, and then, of course, on to the ACHC or NCHC, college hockey in general. So that's a very important part of the entire package, isn't it?
Yeah, for sure. And I think it's huge for the kids to understand like how important their habits are, the type of people that they're turning into as well. If they know that there's scouts watching, it's not always if you score a goal or what you're doing on the ice. If they're going to talk to me, they want to know what they're like at school. They want to know the type of kid that they are, how hard they work. And it's helped me a lot with the accountability of their work ethic, whether it's at school, off-ice workouts that we do to try to make them better players. You can always say there's people watching you. You don't always know when or who or what they're watching. So pretty much the entire time that you're a part of the academy, you're being evaluated in some way at this level.
Well, obviously it's a great experience for the kids. And if I'm living in small town North Dakota and I want to go to Pilot Mound Hockey Academy, how do I get there?
I think the easiest way is just to reach out through our social media avenues. I'm pretty sure my email address and contact information is plastered all over the place. So if anybody wants to just have a conversation, whether it's just get some basic information or if you want to talk cost, if you want to talk school, if you want to talk the level of play that we're at, it's pretty easy just to get a hold of us and have those conversations. It doesn't have to be, it can be fairly informal to get started. And then if it builds to something where somebody's son is going to come play for us, then I mean, that's obviously the goal.
Hey, Kyle, I appreciate you joining us. Again, take a break off. You're off this weekend, I understand. I looked at the schedule. It looks like you're going to get to be home for a few days. Appreciate you joining us, and we'll talk to you down the line, obviously, very, very soon.
Awesome. Thanks, guys.
You get it.
Thanks, Kyle.
Take care.
Open the door. Kyle goes out, and with that, we'll let Nick Jones in. Hey, Nick, we appreciate you taking some time out of your obviously busy schedule in the big city of Winnipeg. Welcome to Game On, I guess I can call Scott. I guess I can call him my Fighting Sioux brother, can't I?
Oh, you can. He was a Hawk, though, right?
Yeah, I know. Let's ask him that question before we get into this whole conversation of where he's doing today. UND Fighting Hawk for 2 years. Do you still kind of lean towards Fighting Sioux like the rest of us do?
I don't think I've ever said Fighting Hawk in my life. So.
Well, let's talk about let's talk about the circuitous route in which you got to UND. A native of Edmonton, Alberta, went to Ohio State for 2 seasons. What made you make the decision to go back to Penticton and then move forward, obviously, and attend the University of North Dakota for 2 seasons?
I went to Ohio State as a true freshman when I was 18 there, and I was only there for a couple months. I was there for 3 games my sophomore year, and I was still the youngest guy on the team there as a sophomore. And I just felt I wasn't developing the way I wanted to, and I had the opportunity to go back just because of my age, I guess. And I think I should have probably went in at 19 instead of 18 in the first place. So I just, I felt like a different team, a different opportunity, which is just gonna help me develop at a better rate.
So how'd you like your experience at UND?
I loved it. I still, we're fortunate to have some guys on our team. We got 4 of us on the team here. We got 10 UND guys and 3 teams that we play pretty regularly here. So I'm seeing UND guys every game. I was just out with a couple of guys, Rhett Gardner, who I played with, and Jordan Kawaguchi and Adam Shield. I saw him. I was with them Sunday night. We just played them. We talked about it. After the game, we sat there for a few hours, had dinner, and all we talked about was the North Dakota and stuff. It's still a big part of who I am, and I go back there every year.
Well, I'll tell you what we're going to do. We're going to carry on this conversation. Obviously, we got all sorts of time since John Marks has decided to stiff us. I'm going to make sure he pays the price for that, but we'll get him on next week. But we're going to take a break, and we'll come back. Nick, you're going to hang in there. Scott, you hang out in Florida, go grab a Mai Tai or something cool to drink, because you wouldn't want to overheat and get dehydrated in that heat of Orlando, Florida, would you?
I have my Disney cup. I'm enjoying the cold beverage.
It's the only way to live. Hey, you're listening to Game on Hockey on the Mighty 790 KFJO and 104.7 FM. We'll be back after this break.
Yeah, this is great. This gives us a chance with Nick, because I got 100 questions.
All right, what time are we gonna get back on? How long is the break usually?
3 minutes.
3 minutes. Okay, I'm just gonna grab a glass of water.
Sure. Yeah.
Right?
Oh.
Yeah. Okay, great. Thank you.
One more break after this, and then you guys can take it up to 59.50 for NFL. One minute till we're back.
You're in Florida right now?
Yeah.
Orlando? How long are you there for?
I'm here for another 9 days.
Oh, nice. That's nice. What are you doing out there?
My daughter works for Disney. She's an executive for Disney.
Okay.
We hang with her. We got a brand new kid. And, yeah, enjoy it. Tonight's Jackson Keene and the boys are playing right now.
Oh, yeah?
Against the
Welcome back on a lively Thursday night on a beautiful night in Fargo, North Dakota with Paulie Alliance. And Paulie, he does yeoman's business work keeping this thing afloat each and every week. New technologies, we're working our way through it and smoothly going through this. But smoothly, well, yeah. Remember, this is only radio. This is not rocket surgery. So we're very, very fortunate to have Paulie behind there and working so well to make this all work. And one thing I do have to say, there's a Traeger grill over here that, someone can win. I think it might sneak out the door here tonight. So if you hear some rumbling, and maybe Paulie, if your back's not too bad, you can help me lift it in my car. It's a beautiful Traeger, and someone's going to have the opportunity to win that sucker this week as well. One question I'm going to ask Nick Jones. Nick Jones, of course, and Scott Taylor joining me. Nick, you've spent some time at the Golf Center in Grand Forks. Everybody who plays hockey at UND does, don't they?
I'm sure a lot of the guys are there. I actually didn't. No,
Oh.
I never. No, there was. A lot of the guys did. I golf a lot in the summer, but no, I'm not.
Well, okay. Well, the Golf Center in Grand Forks, that just everybody who's been on the show has bought equipment from those guys. You're the first one that ruined it for me, but okay.
Sorry,
The golf, they're a sponsor of our show, so you have to nod and say, yes, I did. But anyway, the Golf Center in Grand Forks has been in business for over 35 years. Custom club fitting by Ping, PXG, Titleist and tailor-made, as well as custom putter fitting. I had a custom putter fitted recently, and it's apparently going to save me 4 shots per round. I hope that works. That'd be very nice. It would be great for my game. They also have SkyTrack. So with Christmas coming right around the corner, a great place to go. But also they've got a full line of apparel, warm weather apparel for golf. And they were golfing today in Leonard, North Dakota. So they're getting a lot of nice, good, warm gear for playing golf. It's flexible and they can still play the game. They have it all. So please stop in 3001 South Columbia Road in Grand Forks, or call 701-775-0019. Brian Leach and the guys will do a great job of taking care of you. So with that, Scott, fire away with a few questions.
We have talked about UND and how important it is in players' careers. You are one of a number of UND grads that we've had on this program, and it's always remained near and dear to the hearts of the players who play there. How important was playing at UND for you, and how do you look back on your career?
It's very important, obviously. It's something like I said before, that I go back every year, and it's so just the program to have us back in the first place, so generous of them for Bradbury and the rest of the staff to have us is great. But I developed a lot there. I learned a lot about the culture that they had in place before me, and it's different. It was nice for me going from I was able to experience 2 different universities, and it just wasn't comparable for me, at least. There's a lot of great things about Ohio State and what they had. It's just the culture that UND has, and the people that are part of the program, and everything that the program has is just first class. So it's something I cherish to this day, and those 2 years I spent there helped make me the person I am today.
You talk about the discussion has been Big Ten and how it took away from the WCHA and changed the face of college hockey, and with the Minnesota Golden Gophers and Michigan and all those guys going to the Big Ten. You experienced that. Rinks that weren't very full, especially in Minneapolis, which is beyond amazing to me how the Gophers don't fill that rink every week. Just tell the difference between the Big Ten atmosphere in hockey and the NCHC atmosphere in hockey.
Yeah, I think actually when I was there, it had just changed. I think it was 2 years. My first year was the second year of it being the Big Ten. So I think at that point there was still a little bit of a buzz, but it's the years have gone by. I think you see Minnesota how it was. Like, I played at Minnesota when it still had good fans when I was there, but you see how it is now, and it's just I can't explain from what it was like before, but playing in the NCHC, it's just it's not comparable to the Big Ten, in my opinion. I don't want to run down a league or anything like that, but it's just the level of play that the program's there. I would have loved to play Minnesota 10 times a year if I could have. If that was the case, obviously we would have to have those rivalries every year would be awesome. But we were fortunate to play them both my years there, and we were fortunate to beat them in Vegas, and have them at home and beat them there on the Saturday. It was a great experience. I would have loved to play those rivalry games a lot more.
If a young player had a choice between 2 or 3 university offers, North Dakota was one of them. Would the Ralph be part of your advice to that player to choose North Dakota?
That was for me. But no, there's so much more that the program offers. When I was going through the recruiting process again, North Dakota wasn't my number one before I went on my visit. It wasn't. I knew what the Ralph was. I knew everything about that. I was just more concerned that when I went in as a true freshman, I didn't play have the role that maybe I thought I was going in, and I didn't get the opportunity. I knew I only had 2 years, so I was a little concerned to get buried again a little bit. And I know how many great players have gone through North Dakota, but just the first going there in the visit, and if I kind of told myself, I'm not going to be able to play North Dakota, I'm not going to be able to play pro, so it's really shouldn't be a factor in my decision. So everything that they everything that they offer. I don't see any program that compares to North Dakota.
The voice is Nick Jones, former UND Fighting Hawks /Sioux. I have to make sure to say that to keep him happy. You're listening to Game on Hockey on 790 KFJO and 104.7 FM with Scott Taylor, Travis Dunn each Thursday night. Nick, you talk about that professional rank, professional opportunity that has been presented to you. Now you're in your third or fourth year as a professional hockey. Okay, third year as a professional hockey player, playing on a team with a lot of guys you played against. The Manitoba Moose has Austin Pagansky right now, who's, I believe he's fourth in the team in scoring, 3 goals, 10 assists for 13 points. Luke Johnson, Hayden Shaw, Toninato, Dylan Sandberg, Mikey Esmont. When UND plays Duluth, when UND plays, who else in that mix? St. Cloud State, a little bit of crap go back and forth?
Yeah, especially last year. Last year it was Sandberg for sure. They had that. They had a game there at the end of the year that didn't go our way, but yeah, definitely. There's a lot of NCHC. There's a lot of NCHC in our whole conference. Like I was saying earlier, there's 3 guys in Milwaukee that went to North Dakota. There's 3 guys on Texas. I'm seeing these guys all the time. We got Rocco Grimaldi, Cole Smith. Let's call it Kawaguchi, Gardner, Shield. There's a couple more I'm missing there too. It's crazy how many alumni from North Dakota are now playing in the professional ranks, especially I'm seeing them every night.
Was it a big part of your decision to go to North Dakota that you would come out and be a professional hockey player when you were done? Because as the years go on, more and more and more North Dakota players are playing pro hockey, whether it's in the A or the NHL or the East Coast League. It's a hockey factory.
Yeah, definitely. My goal growing up was to play professional hockey. Being from Western Canada, I wasn't really that familiar with college hockey, so it wasn't really a goal of mine to go to North Dakota growing up. It kind of came to me where I saw the route maybe when I was 16 years old. Then I decided to make it a goal to go to college hockey. So I think pro hockey has always been my goal, and I was fortunate enough to go to such a great school where I didn't realize how great it was growing up, how big it was, but being there and being part of that atmosphere, I was so blessed to be there.
Okay, let's talk about your development at UND. We're talking to Nick Jones, former Fighting Hawk, now playing for the Manitoba Moose of the American Hockey League. How UND developed you, now where you are now. What do you need to develop? What needs to come into your game to take the next step to the National Hockey League?
I think it's adding some more offense to my game. I've always been relied upon 200-foot player. Play a lot of penalty kill. My first year in the league, and for Hartford, I was playing, against the top line a lot, playing those kind of minutes. But adding a little bit more offense to my game, I think so. That's something I'm doing a little bit more right now. The point, I'm creating chances, which is where it starts. And I just got to get those chances to be like a little bit more, produce a little bit more, I guess to say. I think there's my 200-foot games there. I play hard on pucks, but yeah, definitely adding some offense. You can't put up no numbers and expect to make it to the next level.
Well, you have a good team to help you put up numbers. The Moose have had some ups and downs in the last few years, some great ups. But right now, you're a team that's fighting for first place in the Central Division, and this is a team that looks to be playoff bound and looks to have an opportunity to win a championship.
Yeah, we have a great group of guys starting last year. My first year here was last year, and just a real special group of guys. We had a great group in North Dakota, and then Hartford was fine. It was good, but just this feels more like college. It feels like more of a close group. It feels we got a lot of great players. We got a lot of depth in our team. We run 4 lines every game pretty much. We have so many great players on our team, but I think it starts in the locker. We have a lot of college guys on our team too. It's a kind of a college feel in our locker room, for me at least. It feels like that. We have so many good people, and we got a really close team. I think it starts there, and it kind of carried on the ice for us. But I think we've outshot it. I think every team we've played, almost every game, if not every game. So it's it's been a good start. And yeah, we have high aspirations for this team.
You look at and of course, just give us an idea. How are the stands filled during a Manitoba Moose hockey game? Rink full?
We play in the Jets rink there, so they'll block off the top section. There's 17,000 there, and it ranges. We had 6,000 the other night, which 6,000 in the bottom bowl when the top bowl's blocked off. It's a pretty good crowd, a pretty good atmosphere. Usually in that, I'd say 4 to 5 range. I'm not counting people, but I think that's kind of the numbers I hear.
I would imagine it's been an easy transition for you to play pro hockey. Perhaps not in Hartford as much, but you're an Edmonton guy who went to a Midwestern school after Ohio State, and now you're playing in Western Canada again. It must all feel like home the last few years of your career.
Yeah, it's starting to feel like home right now as we get into December. That's for sure. It's getting a little colder. I'm sure you guys are getting it. You're not getting it, but Grand Forks is getting it right now. It's this kind of cold. I grew up in Edmonton, so I'm used to the cold. Then I grew up in North Dakota. You get used to the wind. It's nice. I enjoy Western Canada. It's nice for my family. Come out here. They're coming out next week. It's as close as I can be to be at home. I love being in Canada. I love in the Midwest in general. It's great. It's great for me. If the border was open, I'd probably spend a few weekends in Grand Forks too. I'd love to go down there. We talked about it. Luke Johnson was able to get down when he was injured there, but it'd be nice to get down for a little bit there.
And you can watch these games for the Manitoba Moose on the AHL TV, I believe what is it called? AHL TV. So you can take in Luke Johnson, Nick Jones, Dylan Sandberg, and the future stars of the National Hockey League. Nick, thanks very much for joining us. Good luck with your quest to achieve the National Hockey League. We'll be cheering for you, along with all your brethren from the UND family that has grown exponentially over the course of years. We'll have you out again maybe later this season. And tell you what, the first NHL game you get to play, first interview comes here, right?
Awesome. Yeah, 100%. I appreciate it.
You got that.
Hey,
Nick Jones, thanks very much for joining us on Game On.
No problem.
With my friend Scott Taylor, Travis Dunn, you're listening to Game On Hockey. That was Nick Jones. We'll take a break. When we come back, we have lots of things to talk about. We do each and every week on this show. Please join us each and every week, every Thursday, and of course some Fridays, and we'll discuss where that'll be maybe next week. But you were listening to Game On Hockey on the mighty 790 AM KFGO and 104.7 FM.
Thank you very much.
No, thank you. That was terrific. You're great.
Anytime you want, anytime you need something, let me know.
Get a hold of Daniel.
Yeah, for sure. All right, thanks a lot.
Appreciate it, man. Thanks a
Good
lot.
night.
You too.
Okay, guys, we have to go to 59:50.
I feel so powerful. 100,000 watts. My voice traveling from here to Winnipeg to Saskatchewan, all over the state of North Dakota. Of course, it is streaming live on KFGO. It is on YouTube live as well. So for those who can't partake each and every week live, you can go back and take a look. Eddie Belfour Wonderful guest. Last week, a great group of guests. Keith gave the Russian Five. There is a sequel coming out with the Russian Five. And so Scott and I will have that gentleman on here in the not too distant future to discuss that even further. But make sure to stay tuned after, because there's a little thing called NFL football. The Dallas Cowboys at the New Orleans Saints. So NFL football for those who need that fix each and every week. And from the Nilles Law Firm Law Studio, Nilles Law, established in the 1900s, the Nilles Law Firm provides legal services in more than 10 areas of practice, including business and corporate law, estate planning, wills and trusts, probate, commercial litigation, adoption services, and real estate. A division of Nilles Law Firm is Northern Title, which provides complete closing and escrow services along with title insurance policies for all types of real estate transactions in North Dakota as well as Minnesota. Call Nilles Law Firm at 701-237-5544 or look them up on the World Wide Web at nilleslaw.com. So they sponsor our studio each and every week. Scott, we talk to these young men that go to University of North Dakota, and yes, we do lean a little bit towards that. Your experiences with it over the course of the years, they develop not only good hockey players, but also good young men.
Oh yeah, they're all terrific, and we've been blessed here on this program to have a number of them as our guests this season. I still get a charge of the fact that the Ottawa Senators are basically calling the University of North Dakota their farm team.
Yeah.
And it has reached the point now with the Winnipeg Jets. We may one day see Luke Johnson and Austin Poganski and Nick Jones in Jets jerseys. I mean, the Texas Stars are the farm team of the Dallas Stars. And how many? We have 3 down there. I believe 3 with the Texas Stars.
Yeah, Gardner, Shield, and Kawaguchi.
Yeah. So there's more and more UND players that close to the National Hockey League. And you're right. The thing about Nick Jones made it really clear about the culture at UND and how the culture has built these players. And it seems to me throughout my history with UND and covering the team, not as close certainly as you do down there, but my experience has always been that Brad Berry doesn't settle for anybody who isn't a quality human being. Mm-hmm. And we had Jackson Keene on last week. Here's a guy who pulled himself out of the lineup so a senior could enjoy senior day.
Yeah.
I mean,
it speaks volumes. Now, one question I want to ask, though. Yeah, absolutely. One question I want to ask you. In the American Hockey League, yes, you're that close to the National Hockey League. Is it a case where now with the salary cap giving these guys more opportunities to come up and they're holding them down there, so to speak, at a less, not affecting the salary cap, realizing the NHL teams are signing guys at big dollar volumes, so they have to fill with guys like Austin Poganski who've come up through the AHL? Would that make sense at all?
Yeah, I think what's happened to the National Hockey League because of the cap, I mean, it's pretty clear now what we're seeing is more and more players are signing these $8 and $9 million contracts. Yeah. When you've only got $81 million to play with, and you've got 26 guys on your NHL roster, 24 maybe. With COVID, You've probably got 25 that you're regularly. Certainly 22 are up there, 23. You're paying your top players large contracts, which means to fill your bottom 2 lines, your last 3 defensemen, probably your backup goaltender, is not big money. It's great money compared to you and me, baby. It's spectacular money.
Yeah,
but in the mentality of National Hockey League or major professional athletes, it's not a lot of dough. So you're filling with guys making $1 million, $1.2 million, $750,000, $850,000. And that's why it's important to have guys in the National Hockey League on 2-way contracts that you can pay $850 if they're prorated, of course, in the National Hockey League, and $70,000 in the American Hockey League or $80,000 in the American Hockey League. It's the way of the world now until that cap goes away, and I don't see that happening soon.
And it was really interesting too. Nick brought up, a name, Rocco Grimaldi, who just last year had signed his $1 million contract with the Nashville Predators. And you thought, okay, this guy's now made it. He's in the National Hockey League forever now. He's signed his contract. They love him in Nashville. He contributes offensively, speed, enthusiasm, all that. Now he's back in the minors again. That's something it's surprising how quickly that happens.
Well, it's my old friend Darren Helm from Selkirk, Manitoba, always told me that the hardest sport in the world to play now is the National Hockey League. And it's the hardest place to be because there are 10 guys on the American Hockey League roster that could take the job of the third and fourth line forwards and the bottom 2 defensemen, maybe bottom 3 defensemen tomorrow.
Yeah.
There are 15 guys in the NHL, if they don't have one-way contracts, if they don't have enough NHL experience to guarantee that they're going to stay there, they're going to end up going through waivers and ending up back in the minors, and players from the minors are going to come to the NHL to get them. So you can't, as Darren Helms said, you can't take a shift off. You do not have the luxury of taking a shift off. You have to play hard every night, every shift. And that's a hard thing to do over an 82-game schedule.
Darn right it is, including the travel part of it. Now let's do the parent psychology. You're listening to Game on Hockey with Scott Taylor and Travis Dunn each and every Thursday night. We appreciate Nick Jones jumping on board, and a good conversation. This leads me to this. It's time for psychological help with parents. You know, they see these big multi-million-dollar contracts out there, and boy, my kid's going to get that contract. You know what? That's why I've always leaned towards the college hockey world of getting your degree while getting a college hockey education before you take the next step, because you know what, that education may come in pretty handy down the line. I think getting a good grasp on that, or a good grasp of reality, needs to be shaken into some of these parents.
But how difficult is it?
Yeah,
See, that's another
impossible.
problem too. And the third problem, and that's why our friend Jason Hajdu has got some work cut out for him. He's got to get that message of college hockey into Canada, because the reality is most parents think Western Hockey League first, or in Ontario, the Ontario Hockey League first.
Yeah, no
they
doubt.
aren't thinking U.S. college first. I think that has to change. And secondly, it's really hard. I have a good friend who helps Game On Magazine, a tremendous partner and supporter of Game On Magazine, whose son is a tremendous Manitoba Junior Hockey League player. He's the leading scorer among defensemen in the MJHL. He's fast. He's got not bad size. He's not Zdeno Chara by any stretch of the imagination, but he's big enough and tough enough to play defense in junior hockey. He desperately wants to play in the NCAA. Name's Colby Chiquette on the first place Dauphin Kings. He can't get a sniff. Hasn't got a sniff yet. And he's the leading scoring defenseman in the league. It is hard to get these scholarship offers. It is not an easy thing, especially after you turn 15 or 16, because they're going after kids in grade 10 and 11, not grade 10 so much anymore because the rule changes, but grade 11 kids, when you can start to talk to them. Once you've reached the point where you've finished high school, it's tougher to get that look. So it's really hard to get those U.S. college scholarships. And people say, well, you want to go to college. Yeah, you do. But you have to think, if I want to be a pro hockey player, maybe I have to play in the Western Hockey League because that's my opportunity. And when people come to me and say, well, what should my kid do? He's a good player. He's not a great player. I said, your two alternatives are this. You try to get yourself a family advisor. Agent is the word that they don't like to use.
Yeah.
There are two really good ones in Manitoba, Carson Shields and Daryl Wolski. Very, very good at their jobs. You know Daryl quite well.
Yeah, I do.
They get kids opportunities. Carson Biden's out of Verdun just got that opportunity just recently to go to Princeton. It was as much an academic scholarship as it was his hockey ability.
Mm-hmm.
But the reality is it's hard to get these things. So you need to get yourself a family advisor. The second thing I say to them is, your kid as good as Carson Lambos, Kalen Addison, two Minnesota Wild prospects, Nolan Patrick, who's playing in Vegas,
Yeah.
Brett Howden? Is your kid that good? If they're that good, send them to the Western Hockey League, because they're going to become professional hockey players. Whether it's in the NHL or the American Hockey League or the ECHL or Europe, they're going to be pro hockey players. So send them to the Western League to play 72 games a season, all pressure packed, travel across North America, learn to play the NHL game. Because they don't have to work on their game like a player who is not quite as good and needs that 5 days of practice to play twice on the weekend to become a better player. These are the stars. The stars should play in the Western Hockey League. Your best player out of Bantam and midget hockey should go right to the Western Hockey League to learn to be a professional hockey player. But if you're a late bloomer and you get an opportunity to play college hockey, you should just eat it up. because those opportunities are now few and far between.
Well, they're fewer and farther between, and we in our last 2 minutes here, the United States Junior Hockey League is a classic example why they're fewer and farther between for those Canadian opportunities to come down, because the USHL now is. We talked to a young lady that's the assistant general manager of the Chicago Steel a couple of weeks ago, and a first round draft pick is playing for the Chicago Steel. First round, he'll be the first pick in the NHL draft this year.
Yeah. And that's the other thing we've talked so often with our guests this year is what's happening in Canada. To consider playing college hockey in the United States, you'd better get that offer as a young man, as a 15, 16-year-old, because as more and more players emerge from these non-traditional markets in the United States, you have so many more opportunities. Canada has 35 million people total. Right. I mean, there's not many people in LA. I mean, Southern California is about the size of Canada, from the Mexican border to about Sacramento, maybe. The reality is as more and more players play in the United States, there'll be fewer opportunities for Canadians.
Well, I tell you what, we get opportunities to do each and every week, and that is sit here and do this and hopefully have guests that show up. John Marks, he owes me, but we'll get John Marks on. He's got great stories how he almost became the coach of the Washington Capitals. He was down to the final two with Bruce Boudreau. He will share that story next time he comes on the show. And we'll do a couple of segments with John because there's just some great stories. Tough year for him. Tony Esposito, his best friend, passed away. So there's some great Chicago Blackhawks conversation in there as well. But Scott, you go and drink that nice cold drink on an Orlando beautiful day. I'm going to go home and I'm going to start my car because it's getting cold outside. Those people still listening to the mighty 790 KFJO and 104.7 will be listening to NFL football. The Cowboys and the Saints, they go head-to-head, toe-to-toe in a nuclear battle. And this Sunday, the Blue Bombers take on the mighty, who do they take on? I forget. Saskatchewan Rough Riders.
Anyway, war.
Well, it will be indeed that. You've been listening to Game on Hockey on the mighty 790 KFJO. So long for Scott and Travis.